I'm in Max. You are listening to Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Why, hello, and welcome to Season 25, Episode 1 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Kimmy.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Tappy.
And we have a game convention coming up at the end of the month, August 30th, 31st, September 1st and 2nd at the LAX Hilton Hotel, strategicon.net. And we're going to be streaming games.
We are.
And you may want to go visit the special guests page.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's a special guest on there.
Yeah.
And who is that special guest, Jason?
Well, John Wick is a special guest.
Yes.
He's always a special guest.
Ben Warner is a special guest. I'm also a special guest.
Yay!
So,
And your Kickstarter completed.
Yay!
Yes, it did.
500%? What is it? What is it?
526% approximately.
Let's sing. Let's sing.
Oh, God.
Happy Kickstarter to you. Happy Kickstarter to you. Happy Kickstarter, dear Jason. Happy Kickstarter to you.
Yay!
For the record, I specifically requested they not do that, so don't blame me.
That's specifically why we did it. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
If you had it, we would have just been joking about it unless you said, please don't.
We were on the,
And then
we
we
were
have
on
to.
the fence. We were on the fence. In this episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast, Allervant writes in about sexual harassment of a character. Ryan for Flan. Everyone should be for Flan. Flan is awesome. Or Flan.
Man, street flan is the best. There's this woman in my neighborhood that has like a tray, like a one
and
of those,
sells
like
it?
that has
Right.
flan that she made in her house. It's amazing.
It's awesome. Writes in about players making unsolicited dice rolls. And David in Tampa chimes in on the flaw of organized play. But first, if you'd like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. We also have a forum, happyjacksforum.com. That's happyjacksforum.com. And we're on the social medias.
Yes.
We're on MeWe, HappyJacksRPG, all one word. We're on Twitter, HappyJacksRPG, all one word. We're on Facebook, HappyJacksRPG, all one word. We're on MeWe, HappyJacksRPG, all one word.
Midway.
Yeah, but you didn't say it last week. and on Instagram, HappyJacksRPG, all one word.
You weren't here. It was fine.
I watched
I know.
with shitty Big Bear internet, let me tell you. Also, if you'd like
Could
to...
mean so many different things.
Our router took a shit.
The bear ate our router and then shit it out.
A bear shit on our router. You know how hard it is to get waves, like radio waves through bear shit?
Oh my god! All right, and we also we stream the show live on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific time. You can watch us at happyjacks.org/live and watch the show and see our faces.
Yeah, that's on you. You know what you did.
Sorry.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
Don't complain. And then you wanted to mention the thing.
Yes. So, because 2 weeks ago we had our 10th anniversary, we have started a giveaway. So we are giving away 3 of the really cool Easy Roller dice trays with have a little staging area and everything on them.
They're so cool.
Yeah, they're very cool. I took them.
I've got mine over here.
Oh yeah.
Not allowed to win one.
You're not allowed to win one. So we've got.
They've got stuff on them.
Yeah.
I don't know which ones you
We
got.
have the Wolf one, we have the Spellbook one, and we have the Cthulhu one.
Oh, excellent.
So the pictures on the top.
And then it's got a lid.
Yeah.
And it's a lid.
The
Easy Roller
Spellbook one
dice
is my favorite.
Yeah,
It's-
they're very cool.
Yeah.
If
And
you
then-
go to happyjacks.org/giveaway, you can enter there. You can enter every day. There's a bunch of different ways to enter. Twitter, on the social medias. There's no MeWe.
We would have done this earlier, but we literally forgot it was our 10th anniversary.
Yeah, we did. Totally. But Easy Roller was super cool. They gave us these things to give away, and a bunch of us love these, so they were fantastic. And they're worth like $35 each.
And
Yeah.
it's if you don't have a dice bag, you just throw your dice in it and put the lid back on.
That's
and
what I do. I just
bam!
carry mine around in the staging area, and then I just have them with me always.
Called the rim.
The rim, yeah.
What?
Yeah, the job of the rim
Yeah.
is
Yes.
to keep
Okay.
this in. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the rim job.
What's funny about that?
And the hair
I hate you all.
rimless dice trays.
My friends have the
What's the point?
Earl outerrimjobs.com
Oh.
for like space jobs for the
Yeah,
outer
yeah.
rim.
It's like a jobs board.
Yeah, it's a jobs board. It's outer rim
Yeah.
jobs.
Oh, I hate you all. Anyway,
makes
happyjacks.org/giveaway. And yeah, if you want to see the dice trays, there's a link on the giveaway, and you can also go to easyroller.com.
Excellent.
Do the thing. Win the stuff.
Win the thing. Do it.
Do
And
the
hi,
thing.
chat room. It's nice to see all of you.
Yeah.
Except that one of you, and you know who you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except that one. No, yeah.
I'm still happy to see you.
are. She's lying.
You're an outlier.
I know.
Sexual harassment of a character from Allervant. Hello.
Oh no.
I posted this message on the forums and got such supportive response. I thought it should be included in the podcast.
Yeah, this is one of the many crazy things that we talk about on the forums, but this one, like, lots of replies to this.
Some background first. I was born in my gaming group has been together for over 15 years doing mostly superhero campaigns. Our main GM has been gaming longer than Stu. That's a long time. And is a bit set in his ways. What? And likes to push buttons. Wait a minute. Occasionally. Oh, okay.
Not all the time. Well, it's not Susan.
No, it's not. But when he's not doing it, he's usually entertaining. In our current campaign, I decided to play a female alien unfamiliar with Earth. I thought unfamiliar like a mage will have a familiar.
Oh yeah, and an
This is an
unfamiliar.
unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I want to just play an unfamiliar.
Does that mean that the Earth is their familiar? Never mind.
It's like a stray dog.
Yeah.
No, it's the familiar that takes away the powers of the familiar. Like, you can't talk to anybody now.
Right.
Because you have an unfamiliar.
I decided to play an alien unfamiliar with Earth culture just to try something different. There was some crude comments from NPCs in the beginning, and when my character took a trip to Vegas, the campaign takes place in Nevada, at the Nevada-California border, there were 2 incidents of NPCs treating my character as if she were a prostitute. After the game, I messaged the GM saying I did not find the sexual harassment of my character fun, and if he would stop. This was his response. Quote, "You wanted to play a female character, and guess what? The harassment, my character..." Oh, that's in brackets. You give the name of the character. To protect the innocent, or protect the
Well,
not
probably
innocent?
themselves from
Right.
their gaming group.
Right. Has encountered isn't even a tenth of what a real young attractive woman have to put up with.
Yeah.
Is that me or is that the sentence?
Yeah.
It's close enough.
Okay.
What a really young attractive about what really young attractive women have to put up
Have
with.
to put up with. Okay.
Period.
Plus, Vegas is the sex and sin capital of the country. Oh, I don't know if it's the sex and sin capital of the country.
Well, continue.
It's this legal sex and sin capital.
Yeah.
There you
Isn't it Chatsworth?
Yes, I would say, yeah. Any place with a lot of meth.
Yeah.
And sex is literally just about everywhere in the city, from high-end escorts to scantily clad showgirls to women who walk the streets advertising the brothels outside Vegas. I've never seen those. So, to say you want to play a female character but then complain when she's treated like a woman is in today's society seems a little disingenuous to me. What gets me is that this is not the first time you've played a female character and then complained about being treated like a female.
Whoa.
Son,
I have so many things
you
to
and
say.
my grandparents and dad should have a conversation.
No, you shouldn't.
That feels.
You'll get along great.
They're all just agree with each other.
Yeah. It does feel a little bit like, what did you think would happen?
Yeah.
Yes.
What did
Which
you
is-
expect when you dressed like that?
Yeah, that's ugly as fuck.
What did you expect being female? Right?
Yeah.
All right. You'll notice
It's
that
encoded into the DNA.
you'll notice that I've had people harass his wife's characters too. But you'll notice that she doesn't complain about it.
Great.
because she likes it.
Oh, this guy has zero
my
self-awareness. None. He doesn't even realize. I'm assuming this is actually cut and paste from the. It's not a.
Yeah,
Probably.
that's what I'm assuming as well.
But rather just does something about it, like walking away or ignoring them or beating them up, which admittedly is more wish fulfillment than something women really do. Oh, boy. Wow.
Whoa.
When people harass my character, it's actually a role. This is still his quote. This is not the guy writing in.
Yep.
When people harass the character, it's actually a role-playing opportunity, and you'll notice that this guy's wife actually takes advantage of them to do some role-playing. What you could do is look up online what women really do when they're sexually harassed, and maybe put some of that into the character's response to those situations. But if you're see, he's like he misspelled your, so I think it probably is a cut and paste.
Yeah.
Going to roleplay female characters, you have to realize the downsides to being an woman in today's society. I mean, I usually try to fix typos. I'm not going to.
Not going to do that. I'm just helping this
Because it was written by the a-hole who did this. So.
If you're going to skip that, and woman in today's society, I mean, why did you choose a female character if you didn't want to play a woman and the things a woman has to put up with? I don't have to tell you it's messed. I don't have to tell you
messed up that is.
How messed up that is.
Yep.
I talked with another player about this, and he agreed the GM is a jerk, but is entertaining. I like my character and the campaign, and consider some of the gaming group friends. Not the GM and his wife, though. Not really.
Yeah.
And I don't want to walk away if there's a better way to handle this. This isn't the first time he's pushed things too far and gotten defensive about it. What options do I have? Thanks for all the work you do, Atlervant.
Light him on fire.
Leave. We don't condone violence. Leave. I would leave.
Yeah.
I would leave too, although there's one opening maybe before you leave. He said, fight back. And I guarantee you, your GM does not want your character to fight the people harassing your character.
Right.
But if you do, he's going to get all shitty about it. Like, oh, you can't just start a fight in the middle of the street? What do you think's going to happen? Yeah. Like, you literally told me this was an option that I have.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm exercising that option and my boot against their face.
Oh, and that's a very good point.
This GM might cheat during the fights.
Yeah, probably. Almost certainly does.
So that's a very good point of, like, when he says, oh, this is a role-playing opportunity. There are not a limited number of role-playing opportunities. In fact, there are an unlimited number of role-playing opportunities. Yeah. If you don't spend time doing this shitty opportunity, you have other opportunities crop up because you're role-playing and things are happening.
Yeah. Well, and the absolute bottom line is, a player came to you and said, this makes me uncomfortable, can we adjust it? You say yes. That's...
Yeah, like pushing back, this is a great role-playing opportunity. This is an opportunity for you to keep doing something that makes you really uncomfortable, and I think you should have to do that in the game. That's for fun.
Well, and it sounds like the GM wants to punish him or them for playing a female character.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you get. Yeah. This is what you deserve for playing this kind of character.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's grosser than that. It feels to me like the GM has this kind of woke speech about, oh, this is the stuff that women go through in real life, but then sort of secretly enjoys treating female characters like garbage at the table as a way to educate you. Yeah. It's that's...
Or dissuade guys from playing female characters?
Yeah.
Maybe he just doesn't like that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's just... Well, I mean, he does it to his wife, too.
Yeah.
So it's she's playing female... She's playing a woman character, so it's okay, so this is just the GM really enjoying being a dick. Yeah. And I think maybe...
There's a lot of those out there.
No. Stu, tell me about the assholes who chat.
Why do you do that? Every time that's not like I repeated something you just said.
I know, it's just funny.
But also, Stu, as an asshole, actually is an expert.
I have standing in this field, thank you.
As a standing expert. But, and I think... Yeah, it's just especially gross because of what Jason was saying. Anytime a player comes to you about anything that's in a game. Whether it's like, hey, I don't like potatoes. Can we not have any potatoes show up in our game? It's like, when someone comes to you, like, whatever it is, like,
Right.
yeah, okay,
Right.
there won't be any potatoes. We'll
Yeah.
go to tomatoes instead. Like,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Like, who the fuck cares?
I had a situation where somebody, I think it was actually in an old Shadowrun campaign in college or something, and there were snakes, and somebody was like, oh no, like I really can't. And even then, like 20-year-old me went, would it be okay if they're rats? Yep. Everyone at the table like, yep, rats. Okay, cool. They're rats, not snakes. Don't worry about it. It's a rat shaman now.
yeah.
I got your back, Indy.
Yeah.
Like it was something like that, and I just remember going like, fuck it, they don't have to be snakes. That's not that big a deal.
And also, like, in the game that I'm running here on Happy Jacks, the Autumn People, which you guys should check out. It's going to be in this Wednesday.
Wednesdays.
I have 2 players who are playing female characters. One is a woman, I think she's either Canadian or English, I forget, but we're in England because of her, so it might be English. And then the other is a woman from Ghana. And it's like 1912, 1913 now. I should really know when the time is. And I don't have any people saying, oh, why is a woman here? So I'm like, first of all, they're like monsters or mages or shit like that.
Yeah.
But also, boy, do I not want to spend time doing social commentary of 1913.
Right.
I have better things to do.
Same thing in my Call of Cthulhu game. It's like
We all know how bad it was.
Right. It's like unless you're specifically playing a game to explore those issues, and there are games specifically for that sort
there
of
are.
thing.
Yeah.
And especially if your players don't want it, why
Yeah.
the fuck are you doing
I
it?
think it's even. I mean, this GM's a d-bag, and not in the good way. But maybe having broached the topic was a risk that you could take to say, okay, harassment might be an issue in this game. But as soon as the player comes and says, I'm not down, like, can we not do that?
Yeah.
You go, cool, it's off the table. We'll move on with the rest of the story, which is hopefully more important than the sexual harassment of these 2 women characters.
Yeah, right?
You know what? Did I ever tell you about I go on tirades about the whole GM equals God thing and how stupid it is. But
Idiotic.
There was, and that's from the same era. If he was playing around the same time I was, that's the way you thought about it in the late '70s, and he never got out of that. I think that might be part of it as well.
Yep.
Which is why he's this real shitty, pissy defense of himself too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
Yeah.
even like, well, it's not even like an explanation. It's just an attack.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it gets exhausting, and I know we've talked about this on a couple different episodes with people of color and with women and things like that. Like when you want to have themes like this in a game, like, you definitely have to check with people ahead of time.
Yep.
Because you're right. Like, realistically, people act like shit to women a lot. So, like, when I sit down at the gaming table, I don't necessarily want to continue with that experience all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I
like, boy, howdy, do I want men to treat me like shit in my off time?
Yeah, that sounds like so much fun. I'm going to sit down at a table for 4 hours and in my, like, relaxing hobby time, like, relive this shit I deal with on the street every day. That sounds great.
See, that doesn't sound that great to me, though.
No, it's yeah, it's just it's just garbage, and just garbage. In so
Can I
many
say?
ways.
He's actually asking for advice.
Yes.
You gotta leave.
Yes.
What you should try to do is pilfer any of the players from
Yeah.
this guy's group and start your own. You've been listening for a long time. I recognize your name. You've been listening for a long time. You probably can GM even if you're not GMing.
Yep.
Start your own group and pilfer his
You
players.
fucking wing it. You'll get it, man.
He doesn't deserve players.
No.
Yeah. And also you can play over things like Google Hangouts and shit like that with other Happy Jacks listeners.
Yes.
And
Yes, you can.
Fuck that guy.
You know what might even be, like, if you really want to twist the knife, this GM is saying his wife doesn't complain about it. You could have a conversation with her because she might not like that either.
Now I'm not clear here. Is it?
It's the GM's wife.
It's not the guy who wrote in.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's the GM's
The
wife.
GM harasses his wife's character and Alvarant's character, who are both
His
female
wife.
characters.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
And
I mean, there's a possibility that she's never been in another game, and maybe she thinks
Yes.
that that's, like, the point of all these RPGs is to, like, realistically, like, deal with that. I mean, there's an offhand chance that that's some sort of kink of theirs and they really enjoy it. So be careful how you approach that conversation.
We've had those emails
but
too.
Yeah.
Don't inflict your kinks on other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm not saying put up with it, but when you're approaching the wife, like, be aware.
or don't, and just be safe. I mean, your safety is paramount,
Yes, absolutely.
and you have to do what's right for you. These people are bad to you.
Yeah.
They are toxic,
Yeah.
and they are hurting you, and your safety is paramount, and you have to get away. It's better to not game than hang out with people like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
There you go.
Sorry.
And punch him in the jimmy.
Yeah, if you get the opportunity.
Happy Jacks does not condone violence.
No, but I do.
Yeah. I mean,
So
my entire dedication to or my entire contribution to this thread on the forum, like there's like all these posts, and then mine's just like all I have is Amazon rage. Like that's all I could contribute. I'm like, you have lots of good advice here. God damn it. And I think we forgot to mention it, but happyjacks.org/forum will get you to the forum. So
HappyJacksForum.com. I paid $20
Both
a
of them.
year
Okay,
for the
either
URL. I
it's not
bought
Happy
the
Jack's
domain.
RPG forum.
HappyJacksForum.com.
Are you sure?
Yes, I
So
think.
in real life, do people
Damn it.
say Earl or URL?
happyjacks.org/forum.
I say URL.
You say okay. I say Earl.
No,
Like
Oh,
Duke
no.
of.
No.
No.
Well, you would be
Okay.
wrong.
that word is
I
taken.
guess I'm wrong.
You lived in the desert. How could you be correct with these things?
I have no
Because
idea.
there are also the Urals. The
Happy
region.
Jack's Forum.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Earl of Urals. An Earl for the
Yeah.
Earl of Urals.
But there's an extra vowel in both of those words.
Yeah, you'll pronounce it.
It's an implied
Vowel.
vowel.
Language. What a mess.
Yes, especially ours.
English is a
English is a shit
just a
show.
steaming
I
pile.
was just thinking about this. Every other country, if they adopt a word from another language, they change it to make it conform with their language.
Yeah.
We bring the word in and then change our rules of spelling and pronunciation to fit that word.
Oh, but you know what?
And we've been doing that for centuries.
You know what a lime is called in French?
What?
Green lemon. You know what a glove is called in German? Hand shoes.
Yeah.
I think headlights are like shine throwers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are worse things.
Okay, that's true.
Well, all right.
Wait. Players
We
need
had a
to.
thing we want to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, any of you listen to the show through iTunes. iTunes, in the last week, changed their category structure.
Like everything.
Like all of them.
Yeah.
Overhauled it. Probably long overdue. I mean,
Yes.
how many podcasts were there when they started having podcast functions in iTunes?
5.
Several
16.
dozen.
Yeah.
Right. So they probably couldn't even anticipate what the categories would need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what they did, I don't know about any other sort of space in the podcasting arena, but for RPGs, they actually stuck us in a more general category.
Yeah.
We used to be in games and hobbies was our sort of top level category, and then we were in the much vaunted other games. And that was mostly RPGs. I mean, there was Magic the Gathering and some other things like that.
But back in the day, we all kind of had, like, before there was really like a lot of, like, back in the Wild West days of podcasting, when we started this here podcast.
And we had to, like, shoot people to get on iTunes.
You actually, like, emailed them, and you were like, hey, I should be in this category. Like, it was
You
crazy.
emailed
pants.
Apple?
Yeah. Jesus' face is amazing. But, yeah, so all the RPG
responded.
podcasters, we got together, and we were like, hey, we're all going to say we go in other games. Like, so it was like a community decision.
Right.
And then it kind of just so many of us did it,
and
it
that's
became
the
automatic.
only place that we really could have
it
fit.
made sense.
So they've changed it. So we used to be games and hobbies, and then the subcategory was other games.
Other games.
Now our top level category is leisure,
Yes.
and our subcategory is games.
Yeah. Which includes video games
Oof.
and everything else.
Poker,
Poker, card games.
Mahjong.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't there be some delineation?
There isn't.
Because they're looking to
Zero.
to generalize it more.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, they succeeded.
Well, at least
did.
they generalized ours. There may be other people in other areas of podcasting that are like, woohoo, we finally got our own category.
Is there a section for just sports, or do those have? Is there like a football section and a basketball section?
Well,
Well, it must be under leisure.
I would think it would have to be under leisure,
I
but I'll
hope
bet
so.
you it isn't.
Leisure, sports, everything, I'll call it fair. If it's not the case, I'm going to write Apple a letter.
A sternly worded letter.
Yes, sir.
Dear Apple.
Put that English degree to work.
So anyway, the reason I bring this up, it was not just to complain about it. And one of the problems that we've always had in podcasting, and that's pretty much every part of podcasting, is discovery. It's almost all word of mouth. Most people don't find the podcast they're going to listen to by going and searching anywhere anyway.
Oh, that's true.
And they just made it more difficult on iTunes to do so. And iTunes is probably 40% of our download market. Mm-hmm. So I would ask all of you to, during the course of the week,
Delete iTunes.
that's always a good idea.
Oh no, sports is its own like top category, and then there's a soccer and football and basketball and baseball
I'm
and
leaving.
hockey,
Yeah.
running, rugby has its own category, golf and cricket.
Even fucking Apple is run by the jocks.
And there's a swimming category.
Of course there is.
Wilderness.
They probably have sub-categories.
Yeah.
Backstroke, side stroke.
Fantasy sports is its own category.
Now, see, I think...
Wait,
I
is
think-
that like Blood Bowl?
Yes, that's a Blood Bowl.
Awesome. Blood Bowl's got its own category.
And combat biking.
Car Wars.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
so what I'm going to ask everyone to do, if you can hear my voice or see my face, I apologize. I would like you to, during the course of the next week, on either some social media platform, whatever it may be, or at your local, with your local gaming group, or however you communicate with fellow gamers, mention the show and suggest they watch it. Whether it's an AP that you particularly like, or it's the Friday Night Advice show, or whatever it is,
Please
sometime
consume
during the
it.
course of the week, give us some love.
Yeah.
And also, I would encourage you to do this for other RPG podcasts you listen to, because
Yeah.
they're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's only gonna get harder for people to find us.
And-
so we have to rely on
And I will just reiterate, I know I've personally known a lot of iPhone users who don't realize that there are other apps that you can download and sort your
Oh, yeah.
podcasts on, which is not a diss. It's just like iTunes is so prominent in your
Well,
view
now
on the
it's
iPhone.
its own podcast app.
Right. So there are other apps out there, Podcast Addict.
What do I use?
Like, just search the App Store for podcast apps, and you will find
Podcast.
other stuff. Yeah, Pocket Cast is what I use.
Yeah.
Will they work on an iPhone 5?
Probably.
I bet it
Spotify
does.
does.
Well, and you can listen to us. Yeah, Spotify. You can listen to us on Spotify too now.
Yeah,
right.
There's a lot of different options.
Yeah. So, iTunes doesn't. They're doing this because they can, and they're a monolithic supergiant. And if fewer people use it, they are less of a giant. So
Yep.
even on your iPhone, you don't have to drop iPhone to switch. It's just an app that has taken over a marketplace and is shaping how people want to engage with their entertainment, which I think is wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
We are excited though. We are listed on the all-time bestsellers of games.
That makes sense.
All-time best sellers?
Yeah. I don't know when you hit games.
Oh,
it,
yeah.
It
we're
has
in
like the top ones. And our Friday show's still in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like there's a weird number. It's like 65 things on there or something.
69.
counting them?
67 and a half.
9. Yeah, there's a weird number of them.
Yeah.
They're not numbered like they used to be,
No.
but we're there. We're hanging in there.
So
Help us.
so please, whether it's a tweet or a Facebook post or whatever, or your local gaming store, talking to people there, or mentioning us to your local gaming group, whatever it is, during the course of the next week, do that for us. Just once, at least once.
And
Every day would be even better.
Yeah, the other thing that will really, really help us, if you do use iTunes or whatever platform you use, leave us a review. Like, give us a star review and just write a sentence or two. Like, the actual typing of the sentence actually changes the algorithm more than just leaving stars. Although stars is always great, too, as long as it's more than one star, you assholes. But
That would be Canada. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's not. It's probably not.
That's burping.
But anyway, that's also another way you can help out too. If you don't, please also share because we want our audience always to grow. But leaving a review too does actually impact the rankings on iTunes and stuff like that. Not
also,
that I obsess about them.
slightly off topic, several of us have outstanding manicures, and one of us
I
does
don't.
not.
I do not. No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Just wanted to
It's
call
fun.
that out.
I got gels. They're freaking awesome.
Yeah, gels are amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
Best.
and 2 of us have glitter.
Oh yeah, sparkly.
Well, mine are black like my soul.
That's
so
true.
I can have them glitter like my soul.
And mine are
That'd be
sparkle
black
glitter like
myself.
myself.
The only manicures I paid for are my daughters.
All right.
That's a shame because they're awesome.
You should try getting one. I'll go with you
Oh
sometime.
man,
if you
yeah.
want.
Get a mani-pedi. Oh man, it's super dope.
I don't
Get like a little shoulder
that's
massage.
Go
while
get
you're
the
doing
belt
it.
sander out for your feet.
Right. Players need to chill their dice from Ryan for Flan.
I threw my paper.
Who would like to read this? Jason for Flan?
Yeah,
Kimmy for Flan?
I'll do it. Or unless you're next. Do you want to do it?
I guess so.
Yep.
Players need to chill their dice. Hiya, Jackers. I had an interesting thing happen at my table last night. I have been running a Starfinder game for my group for a few months now, and as a change up from our usual D&D campaign, it has been going well. But gradually, a few player characters have become more and more chaotic. Not that that is a bad thing on its own. It's just led to some hilarious moments. Last night, one of them decided to start rolling for self-control in certain circumstances that she chose. I loved that idea. D20 games don't usually have flaw-based mechanics, and I love adding anything to them that will up the roleplay drama. This started snowballing, though. Quickly, another character was doing it several times over the session, and then they decided to add some roles for completely different things, like making a disguise or digging through another PC's belongings. This really frustrates me. Am I wrong in thinking this is annoying? I've always been privy to allowing the GM to decide when a role is needed or not. It has me wondering if the game is just boring to them. I usually run my campaigns very RP heavy, and I don't often call for roles that aren't needed. I think they're all used to the constant perception checks and saves of D&D, maybe? Or maybe I'm just too used to being the dictator and I should let them be. Keep jacking it. Love you, peeps. Ryan for Flan.
Yeah.
Far be it from me to chide anybody for being chaotic. I mean, my alignment is chaotic. But I also know how frustrating it can be when players don't take what you're doing too seriously.
Right.
Like, I mean, we're not doing fucking Shakespeare or anything here. We're all supposed to be having fun. Mm-hmm. But when people start, like, what feels like intentionally throwing a wrench in what's happening for, like, their giggles for right now, or just, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not really invested in my character. I'm not invested in your game, so I'm just going to roll some dice and giggle at it. That can be very frustrating, because as a GM, you put a lot of effort into the game. So I can totally see how that's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there are like character types in games where you are supposed to roll for your mood or your decision making or whatever, but and also I wouldn't take this on you. Like D20 is a weird binary system that is on or off, pass fail, no gray area, and so I think sometimes that itself leads to a fatalistic way of playing. Of like, well,
Yeah,
we're
right.
either gonna like, there's no in between, so flip a coin.
And I could roll like under 25 this entire time because there's no curve whatsoever.
Right.
I don't know, I'm a little torn on this because I've been the player where I sit there, and even if I don't make a roll like officially in the game, I'm like, oh, my character could do this or do this. I kind of like roll a d6. I'm like, high I do it, low I don't. So if I don't know.
It sounds kind of like they're in like, oh, do I wear a hat today? Am I going to wear a silly hat? Oh, I wear a silly hat.
Yeah.
Like, where it's
That's
things
what
that are
we're talking about.
inconsequential,
That's annoying.
but like just kind of silly. Like, oh, do I steal your shit? Oh, if I steal your shit, well, it's not my fault because it was the dice.
Yeah.
And if I don't, oh, that was really wacky, wasn't it? But it takes away time from playing.
There are a couple components here that I got tired of in games a long time ago and pull immediately. If a game does have like merits and flaws or something like that, and any of them are based on personality, like impulsive or I don't know, bored or whatever, I don't allow those in my game. Because if you want to play a character who's compulsive, great. You tell me your character's compulsive. Now, carry on, right?
and be compulsive.
Right. These should be, like, I want you, the player, to take responsibility for what your character's doing. Also, the phrase, sorry, it's what my character would do is the most irritating phrase I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
You're not sorry. You're glad you get to piss everyone off with your thing that's derailing the campaign.
Oh, I think that's unfair. I know a lot of people who have actually apologized about things that their characters have done during games because it is what their character would do.
I think if
and they weren't doing it out of malice.
If what your character would do hijacks the entire story and campaign and puts a spotlight on you and doesn't let anyone else do what their character would do, your character should do something different.
Okay, but what you said,
Right, but it's different than what you said.
Yeah,
Okay.
you said that this phrase, this
Okay.
what my character
Well,
would do, is always followed by basically malice.
Okay.
Because
And I think that's unfair.
I
Okay.
think one good example of that is actually Raven in your Demigods campaign that we did. Because there was a couple times because she bugged out when things got scary.
Oh, yeah,
So
okay.
it's like, hey guys, at the table, I know you're my friends. I'm sorry that you're in this combat. My character would totally flee at this point because she's a trickster and a coward. She's bouncing out. She's
No,
leaving.
but you did also decide to make a cowardly character,
Right.
knowing that there would be combat.
Right.
So,
And
like, that's
everyone-
still a choice that you made beforehand,
Right.
that you knew would impact the game and impact the players in a negative way.
Yeah, you
Right.
didn't
So-
randomly decide that. Everyone knew your character was a coward.
Yeah.
Right,
So
like the-
they get into fights knowing I'm probably going to leave because it's something she has done a couple times
Right.
now. But I think what you're talking about is like it's very different when someone does something that hijacks the story.
Yes, that
versus
is
something
entirely what
that-
I meant by that. Yeah.
The other thing is, mechanically, like, whenever I'm designing a game, wherever I'm looking at a game, etc., one of the things that I look at is how many times you roll the dice. Like, in combat or whatever, every time you roll the die and look at it and interpret what it means, it slows down the game.
Yes.
And so when you're doing, like, random ass bullshit, like going through players' belongings and stuff like that, you are, like, just stabbing your game with a tiny little knife. And if you do that again and again and again and again, yeah, you might miss 10 minutes of the game, but 10 minutes can be a lot.
Yeah.
And there's some very significant things can happen of it. Then over the course of the campaign, you know, that can turn into 3 hours of fucking time missed because you decided to roll your dice to see what shoes you'd put on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if that assumes you're taking up the rest of the table's time.
Well,
If you're just saying, I'm going to roll to see if I wear a hat today,
Well, yeah,
that doesn't have to slow anyone
Like what
else down.
Kimmy was describing, where she couldn't decide what her character would do, and just privately made a roll to decide between the two options that she was interested in doing. That doesn't take time away from everyone
No.
else,
Right.
But like rolling to like dig through another player's bag, suddenly that player's going to be like, "Do I see it? Do I get to roll perception? Do I like where's my stuff now? Like, can I do investigation to find out where my stuff went?" And so now you've hijacked the story and, you know, made it about your silly role.
and it also sounds like because this person's a GM and this person are asking the GM about the roles and if I can do it, etc. This is not
it sounds like they're just doing it.
Yeah, well,
but also like, oh well, I don't know, let's see if I do it.
Right.
But it's not like it doesn't sound to me like it's something they're doing and then informing the GM of what they're doing, because then it doesn't matter.
Right.
Right? Then you're just doing it. It's like deciding in your head whether or not your character's going to
Rather
do
than
it.
deciding in your head, you're just flipping a coin or something.
But
right?
but it sounds like this person or these people are engaging the entire table and the GM in it,
Yeah. Right.
which would therefore make it annoying.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that wouldn't be annoying at all.
right.
Bude
just-
in the Bude in the chat room says rolling in lieu of role playing.
Well,
So it's a
I'm going to
little-
defend. I want to defend these players a little.
Okay.
Because it's what, two of them or three of them that are doing it.
It looks like
there's
two.
Two?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe they are bored. Maybe there's something about the game that is not engaging them, and they're doing this to try to make things more interesting.
They ask that. The writer is asking that. That might be a possibility.
I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily the players are being dicks. Maybe they are.
I feel like if the game is boring, maybe I talk to the GM afterwards and say, "Hey, you know, I was looking for a little more action from the game. Is that something we can look at, or is this
Right.
going to be more of a talkie campaign rather than disrupting it in flow and just deciding I'm bored, I'm going to ruin everyone else's fun?"
Not everybody
Assuming
is an
they
adult,
are
though.
ruining everyone else's fun.
Well,
They may not be.
I would be extremely irritated sitting across the table
Okay,
in
well,
this situation.
I'm wondering if they're.
But you're not everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this would bother me. As a GM, I would say if you're gonna make a roll, ask me if you need to make the roll first.
Roles should be significant.
Yes.
Yes, But I wonder if there's a reason why they're doing this that we're not privy to.
I'm wondering if this is kind of their excuse to color outside the lines a little bit. Like, maybe they're not the type of person to, like, steal the scene a lot or act weird. Maybe they have very set characters that they always play. And I'm wondering if the dice are a little bit like their excuse for maybe pushing it a little bit, maybe going a little farther than they would with the role-playing naturally.
Or maybe they're people who have difficulty asserting themselves and going up to another adult and saying, hey, what you're doing I don't like.
Yeah.
Like, there are lots of people who have difficult times with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I just wonder if they're... Maybe they might be bored, and who knows, maybe they've played with GMs like the last guy, where if you give him feedback, you get a tirade about how your character's getting what they deserve.
Now, another way to do this is, Ryan for Flan, maybe there's an opportunity for you to talk to them separately and say, hey, is the storyline boring? Were you wanting something else out of this? Like, maybe there's a way to do that and have that conversation since they're handling it the way they're handling it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you, it sounds like you want something different from this experience.
Yeah.
You're probably going to have to intervene.
Yeah.
The Shadowrun campaign I ran in college invariably wound up at Dunkin' Donuts, and these high-paid contract killer,
the characters ended up at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
Oh.
The characters ended up at Dunkin' Donuts just talking about, and I was like, this isn't what I wanted when I said I'd run Shadowrun for you guys. And I had that conversation, although I was a little shitty about it because I was, whatever.
Yeah.
But the next time we all got together, they understood that that's, either somebody else should run a game or they could play the game that I had set out because it's Shadowrun or something else. Mm-hmm. But I expressed that I didn't want the silliness to go on, and that was also my first introduction to telling the players ahead of time what kind of game I want to run.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is another key component to just letting everyone know kind of the tone and content and just what you're hoping to get out of it. You can run a silly Shadowrun campaign.
Yeah. Or
That's
silly
doable.
games in general can be very fun.
Yeah.
But if that is not what you've put all of your time and effort into, it can be frustrating if some people are doing different type of stuff.
Yep.
A silly Cthulhu game would be amazing. Just completely ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it would be fantastic. I'm sure that most of them end up being run that way, at least at some point. So there you go. Thank you, Ryan, for Flan.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Says Stu for Flan. The Fatal Flaw of Organized Play from David in Tampa.
Shall I?
Yeah.
All right. This past weekend, I attended a board game convention. I'm not a huge board game fan, but the convention advertised an extensive role-playing track. Unfortunately, the majority of the TTRPG games there were organized games. Pathfinder Society, Starfinder Society, and Adventurers League, which is the D&D, if you don't know. Since these were only cups of water available to me in a desert of gaming, I decided to sit in on some League games. The folks running the games were nice enough. That's not true. They were downright friendly and a lot of fun to talk to.
Good.
They exalted the virtues of organized play, saying that it established rules and guidelines that allow a player to bring their characters from place to place and game to game. Both of the fine gentlemen I talked to said they'd never been in a home campaign and only played League games.
Oh.
One also admitted he'd never played a game other than 5e.
Okay.
They were also very good and talented GMs. They knew the rules, knew their adventures, portrayed fun NPCs, and seemed to be in it to provide a good time for everyone at the table. As far as organized play goes, I think that I experienced the finest that it has to offer. All that said, I really didn't like it. Here's the problem as I see it, and I would love to hear your thoughts on the subject.
Oh, no.
There's no soul to organized play. There's no heart. It's mostly railroady adventures written by no one at the table for any PC who shows up. There's no exploration of backstory, there was no character development or even role-playing. The social encounters felt like staring at a cardboard wall. They were only there as a means to drive you to the next combat encounter. For me, it was like the difference between a television police procedural, pick whatever one you've watched, they're equally dull and ridiculous to me, and, say, Breaking Bad. One is formulaic and uninteresting. After watching a couple episodes, you could start counting the story beats. Here's where we start the montage where they do the fingerprints. Here's where they get the bad guy to confess, etc. With Breaking Bad, you never knew what was coming, and there was a holy shit moment almost every episode. Maybe I'm jaded, or I just don't appreciate the point of organized play, but give me a great home game any day. Sincerely, David in Tampa. P.S. I've played some con games that weren't organized play that were fantastic. Somehow, the GM crammed all the elements of a great home campaign into a 4 to 8 hour block that left me speechless. That, or they had no ideas, or they had an idea so nifty or original, I couldn't help but have a good time. This isn't a knock on con games, but my personal opinion of organized play. PPS, imbibe, please.
Yes.
Oh, I don't have a drink.
Yeah.
Oh well. I shall pretend.
I've never seen Breaking Bad.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
It happened while I was in the desert.
Yeah. We'll go back and watch it.
I don't know. Like, TV shows, they're just kind of for me in general. Like, there's something
My one
really
criticism of it is they kind of make the meth addicts sort of like the comedic sideshow of it.
Oh, and meth addicts are not funny.
Right. That's the one thing. That's the one thing. As I was watching through that made me a little uncomfortable. I'm like,
Yeah, no, meth addicts are not funny.
no.
That arcs though. That story.
I didn't finish the series.
That
fair.
changes.
To be fair.
I have been watching the new She-Ra, which is fucking awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
It's very
No, so about league game or organized play, I actually agree with all of this. The couple experiences I've had with league play were a bunch of people who were not like mean or rude, but everyone was there to crunch the numbers and get through this as quickly and efficiently as possible. And if your character wasn't optimized, I did get some side eye.
Yeah.
For that, I mean, it wasn't like nobody really gave me a hard time about it. But they were like, "Oh, you didn't take that spell," and that would be the end of it, right? I was like, "No, I don't have that spell. Sorry." So that's been my experience as well, and I think it's probably great if that's what you want. Like if you want tabletop RPG, the MMO, that
A war game with
Or the
little
war game,
RP
yeah.
vignettes.
yeah. And I don't mean that even as a pejorative.
No.
I think
Some people like that.
Yeah, there's a market for this that a bunch of people are going to really like, especially people who maybe this is the limit of their real life social encounter.
Yeah.
You know, like they might be uncomfortable around people, and here they are sitting at a table with 5 other people, and they're interacting and doing this thing. I could imagine that being like a cap for some folks.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I can also see some people going, boy, I really like wargaming, but I really wish I had a war game where I had one character that I would like a hero, so I could be like a hero in a tabletop war game. Like,
Right.
oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know, and it's about playing that tabletop game as opposed to the tabletop RPG.
And they don't want the romance or the drama, which I don't mean as a pejorative. It's just something that not everyone wants at the table.
Well, the other thing that I've talked to some people about, because I've never really done this, but I've talked like at length to some people online who've done this, and one of the things that they've expressed to me too is like they like creating the story of their character. So it's like this epic story, sometimes for years and years, of the same character
Interesting.
over the course of all these adventures, where it's like, you know, instead of the novel being about a group of adventurers, it's like their character. So, I mean, some of them write like stories about their character in between. They have like all these like outfits and things, and as they get more items, they keep it for many years. So, I think there's definitely a way of doing of storytelling with it too, and there's some people who are into it for that too. But it's not a collaborative storytelling like kind of what a lot of other people are looking for when they're at an RPG table.
Well, I mean, the story isn't your story. Like, any story you would have, it'd be outside of the game. Because the game itself is somebody else's story that they've written that you walk through.
Right, but
So, like...
You're talking about the
but they're saying-
character arc.
the character arc is something you could just write down as...
right, but
like,
then these are adventures. Like their character got hired in this town, and with these other people who got hired, or whatever the
Right.
story for that campaign is.
But you don't have any choice in that. You are going to be hired for that.
But it's still your character's story.
I understand.
To say, my character rescued that farm
It's just-
from the bandit and returned it to that family, and I was a hero in that town. And
It's just weird. I don't know. It's just
I
weird
know,
to me.
I know.
Like,
I didn't enjoy it when I was there.
Yeah,
But
the idea of just like, okay, well, I'm going to go down, like, where do I go next? Oh, well, the guy comes up to you and says this. Oh, I go over there.
Yeah, roll perception.
I played
okay.
MMOs. There's a guy with a question mark. Oh, that's the next part of my character's story.
Yeah, I played EverQuest for, like, 5 months and was like, this is bullshit.
Right. Now, James V., I think this depends on the GM. I run Adventures League every Wednesday and keep everything with a homebrew feel and have a table that has been stable for over 18 months.
Whoa.
Oh, see, that becomes a home campaign, I'd say that.
I can say that...
That's a home game.
I can see the limitation for a convention, but regular play at a game store that is organized is not always formulaic. So basically, they're just playing like a big, long campaign of one-shots.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
And I mean, it probably the majority of organized play is happening at game stores. Because I know there's 2 or 3 nights a week Game Empire in Pasadena over here has Adventures League.
Yeah. Now, there are some games and some systems that would work really, really well with that. For example, Shadowrun, because it's a heist. So it's like, where's my heist this time?
Yeah, who am I
then-
hiring to get? Yeah.
Wasn't there at one point sort of a living Shadowrun thing?
I mean, there was a bunch of online stuff. But
They didn't have an organized play thing at some point?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware
Oh,
of.
okay.
The trouble I always had with running Shadowrun, and I even had that like running recently Shadowrun, it's like, it's a heist game, guys, and then immediately people just go to the place and start going through it. It's like, okay, well, I guess we're just gonna kill through this thing. That's cool.
Although I would also say, I think the League play is a great example of the social contract that people want from a game like this. You know, you're going to go to a League game, and if people start doing that random bullshit from the other game,
You're like, no,
that's not welcome there, right? Because people have a set amount of time they have to get through the adventure, or they want to get through the adventure, right? Like that's, and I think that's a bunch of people signing up for exactly what they want from a game because it's been outlined and said, yes, we are here to accomplish X, Y, and Z, and that's what we're going to do. And if it's over the course of 18 months with the same group of people, great. And if it's you can only pop in once in a while and go to your store and get a free seat and play with whoever's there, great. Right. But that's going to be a different experience. I don't know if it's fair to say there's no soul to organized play, but it is a really different experience for sure. Like,
Bill Kunn in the chat room says the size of the convention could also be a factor for a first-time attendee deciding whether they like it. Gen Con is gigantic now. Local cons are small. So, like, I bet. I mean, I haven't played at Strategicon. Strategicon is a pretty big convention, but I know, like, I get a lot of familiar faces in my RPG games when I run them at the con. I don't necessarily know them; they're not necessarily my friends, but I'm like, oh hey, and I walk around and I recognize all the same RPGers who've been coming there for years now.
Right.
So I bet that like Pathfinder Society that probably has a similar thing where if you're a first-time attendee joining you, this may be a table of strangers to you. But if you sit down and you've been going to the same convention for a while, you might be familiar with the people at the table, and that might present a little bit more of a role-playing opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know if people, like, I've heard horror stories about people hating having role-playing in those games because it takes up their time. Like, Daphne was just saying, like, them being really strategic.
I don't think they want a lot of role-playing in that.
Well, Bill, there was one convention where Bill went and played in an Adventures League game. And came back and gave us a review of it, and it was very similar to what everyone's describing.
Yeah. And I will say, though, also, my Adventures League game was at Gen Con last year. So I think that was probably the most extreme example of you know, trying to be time crunched and go through it and do all that stuff. And I also had, like, basically a level 1 character that you could download and was pre-approved for League play, right? And you could choose, like, 2 spells or whatever it was.
And you chose the wrong one.
And that's what I got the side-eye for. Like, why would you take that?
Did you have fun in it?
I mean, it was an RPG. It's like, you know, bad pizza. It's still pizza.
Right.
Like,
as long as it's still hot and fresh, you can put it in the microwave.
Yeah.
Put enough cheese on it.
And cold pizza's good.
And like, nobody at the table was rude, right? Like, no one,
horror stories.
Yeah, no one was harassing me. It was, or each other, right? Like, it was just, I think there were 5 players and a GM, and we just chugged through. We just, like, went down that railroad, and...
Was the adventure interesting?
I don't know. I don't really love book adventures.
Okay.
You know, published adventures. So I don't know. I think other people enjoyed it more than I did, and I can see what people get out of it, but it's definitely not for me.
Got it.
Bobcat in the chat room says, apparently there's a Shadowrun Living campaign for 2nd or 3rd edition.
I thought there was one.
That does sound like something.
I mean, that must have been a long-ass time ago, because 3rd
Yeah.
edition came out in 1998.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, which is the edition I have? It's the 20th or 25th anniversary?
That's probably 4th edition.
4th
Yeah.
edition? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess.
Yeah, it is. 4th edition is a real hot
Unplayable.
mess.
Unplayable.
Yeah.
We
5th
played-
edition fixed a lot of those problems.
3rd edition was playable. 2nd edition was better. And then 5th edition, I think, is the best. I really like 5th edition. I know you disagree with me.
Well, I like 2nd edition, but it has its problems.
Yeah.
Specifically changing of the target numbers, which is a core mechanic of it.
Yes. My review of Shadowrun 5th edition is that it is eminently playable.
But also, there are a lot of rules,
Yes.
especially if you want to be.
How thick is the book?
Well, all of them are like this.
Like together, like a meter tall.
The core book.
The 5th edition core book is, like encyclopedia size.
I'd say
Okay,
it's
all right.
Little, yeah.
maybe 400 pages,
That's more than that.
300, 450.
Maybe.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, it's enormous.
Yes, that was a bog dark. A dog bark. Sorry.
Bug dark.
All right.
Oh man, that
Way
needs
to
to be a
play it
creature.
off and not call more attention to it, Stu. Good job.
It's the whale of the bog dark.
Yep, that'll be in my game.
Yeah, I'm like, this could be in a game.
That's a new Shadowrun critter.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, I'm going to play the thing.
All right.
Thank you for joining us for season 25, episode 1 of Happy Jacks RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Kimmy.
I'm Jason.
I'm happy.
And we'll see you next week at 7 p.m.-ish Pacific time on Friday, happyjacks.org/live. Don't forget to come to Strategicon, what is it? Gateway?
Gateway.
End of this month at the Hilton, strategicon.net for information.
Yeah.
And also congratulations to Jason and
Thank you.
his stellar Kickstarter. And don't forget the giveaway.
giveaway.
happyjacks.org/giveaway.
Yeah.
Win it because I can't.
They're the best things. They're so
Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week.
Good night.
Happy Jacks, our patron saint of the skillful game master. Oh, guide us well with yes ending to avert a disaster. Whether fate or GURPS or millions of apocalyptic acts, fellow listeners and every host will always have our backs. Unless you're playing D&D and then they'll give you crap.
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.
Why problem make when you no problem have you don't want to make?